All right. Welcome to the second episode of the Bjorn Identity. Whether you like it or not, I'm coming back week after week with with my show. And so I'm going to grow on you guys. But on a serious note, I'm really excited to have an opportunity to host my second episode of the Bjorn Identity. My name's Kai Bjorn, National Director and owner of Corporate Connections Canada, and I have my lovely co-host today, Robert Gervais, who's the Global President of Corporate Connections, among being a serial entrepreneur, all-around great guy, and here today to bless us with some insight into our topic.
Wow. This
Welcome.
is, I like this, Kai. I think we need to
It's
do
like
this
tennis.
more.
I think you're supposed to come back at
Yes,
me now.
no. Well, actually, it's fun to be here because I've known Kai for a long time, and there was a little bit of a break while he went off and did his professional sports and professional football, sailing, won the America's Cup in sailing. Just
All that great stuff.
Yeah, but I think it's part of what makes you great at what you do because you don't often talk about it, but I think that's where
it's
you
called
develop
being
skills.
humbled.
Yeah.
In the professional sports on the starting line when you don't do as well as you had hoped.
Yeah, but I think
you
it's where you
learn to be
developed a lot of your skills that we're
100%,
going to talk about.
100%. I think that's it leads us in today's topic. We're going to what I want to talk about today is building your network. We all have a network. We all talk about networking, good, bad, indifferent, long, boring, fun, fruitful, not fruitful. I say, why take a chance? Why don't we get control and take control of the networks that we're going to benefit from? And so what I'm going to do today with Robert is we're going to hit 20 minutes. It's not going to be the traditional 50, 60. It's going to be 20 minutes in sync, specific to building your network. And so we're going to talk a lot about building your corporate connections network or your corporate connections chapter. But you can do this on your own. And all the principles are the same, but this is dear and near to our heart. It's what we do. And Robert, we're going to get going. And so what would you think would be the first ingredient in the process of corralling and building? Because we all have a want.
Yeah.
We all want to have a kick-ass network, great people around us. They make us better, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. How the heck do you start that conversation?
Well, look, I think there's a couple ways of doing it. You can build if we're talking about a chapter here in Corporate Connections, you can build it around yourself. But if you want to build an extended network, you need to find someone who understands the values of what we're doing here and who has that depth and breadth of network that we can build it around them. Because at the end of the day, anyone who's got a great network, you can build around them if they're willing. And I think it's not that hard. It's amazing when you sit down with someone and you start explaining the value of what we're building and how it's going to impact their lives. It's pretty remarkable how many people go, yeah, I want that.
Yeah, no shit. The benefit.
Yeah.
We have networks and, it's funny. You ask when was the last time one of your siblings, parents, brother, sister, cousin, friend gave you an opportunity? It's happenstance, man.
No, but I love that you said that because my brother, way back here so Kai and I started Corporate Connections way back with another gentleman, Don Morgan.
With a twinkle in our eye.
Yeah, well, we were young. We're still youngish, but it was really interesting because I invited my brother to join our chapter, the first chapter, and he's like, "Why? I see you every day, and I've known him my entire life. He's older than me, right? And we have a good relationship, and we'd send each other 2 or 3 business opportunities a year that would pan out. And I said, yeah, but imagine if we met every couple of weeks. Imagine if we added structure to it, an intention. And he took a flyer. He said, okay, you know what? I'll do it. And it completely transformed because we already had the trust.
Yeah.
Now we had the structure. And it was fun to see, like you say that, it's so true. Because if not, it's haphazard and it works. I've got great friends. People were in my own wedding party. But I don't necessarily, it's just not the relationship we have.
No, they're segmented, right?
Yeah.
There's a fact. If I don't know what you want, I guarantee you one thing in life, I am not going to get it for you.
Yeah.
And it's gauche, it's taboo to want, right? We have our relationship and, do we talk business? Yeah, 100%, man. And so what we're talking about is creating that environment where it's depth of understanding and depth of relationship so that I actually know what you're looking for. And so, you know, in the previous podcast, our initial inaugural one, we were talking about bandwidth and stuff and surrounding ourselves with people. And I find it interesting. You can have the most robust, strong network. It's your network. Guess what, Chief? I got one too.
Yeah.
Imagine you put two together. Now you got the double network.
And not even, it's exponential.
It's like Verizon or what?
Verizon?
Verizon. Sorry, I'm not American. It's not here in Canada, so I apologize. Bell, Rogers, I know. But the Verizon commercial, I told two friends and it's that exponential opportunity. And so everyone in my network tends to look like me, right?
Yeah.
You know, not to a T, but they sort of have my flavor. And it's when we're able to start tapping others and that we get access to people that might not have been in my social circle or even my business vertical. And to me, it's that understanding. You don't have to be in my space. You know, when you go and talk to ABC traditional business person, their network tends to be in that vertical. You know, they make their living out of this area. But that precludes me, who is not in their vertical, but I play golf with, grew up with, swim with, coach soccer with individuals that they want to meet.
Yeah, well, look, you don't know who you don't know, and you don't know what they know.
Yeah, and
so you get in front of them. But that's
something that I've always been amazed with you is the diversity of the people around you. You know, and that's something. So you had said, how do you start? What's the driver? And I think you coined that phrase with me was finding a driver, someone that has the want and the wherewithal to corral people.
And ideally,
so it's not going to be an introvert.
No,
it's going to be someone who's
well. And I like to often I say it's maybe it's the drivers. I love when you can get two people who know of each other, respect each other professionally. They're not necessarily close, and they both have great networks. And you sit down with the two of them and connect them, and then you all of a sudden, if the two of them decide to do it, this thing happens overnight. It's quick.
And there's a common thread amongst them, right? It's that want to support one another, that want to put some time in.
Well, they're why,
right?
right?
It's like the hunter-farmer scenario.
Yeah, no hunters.
And I mean, everyone hunts. You know, we don't eat if we don't hunt. But at the same time, you have to have that give back philosophy, that farming philosophy.
If you want it to be sustainable, that's an absolute key.
Gain traction, sustainability. And so we talk about corporate connections for Canada, for me, for the world, for you. But what I find really interesting is we built our own chapter. So when you had alluded to before that we started this vertical, this program, well, how? Because we built one. Because we looked at each other and said, let's find a way to monetize and be much more proactive together so that we can all help each other. And don't kid yourself, these environments we built, you know, they're for business. It's not for profit. It's for business, man. We're building something that we're going to benefit from personally, professionally. The key piece, though, is if I give you something, I don't need something. And I'll never forget my wife. I gave a printer a massive deal. And I'd just come out of the sporting world, so I'm a new neophyte business person. And that person landed a good six-figure contract. And my wife said, "What do we get?" I said, "Nothing." She goes, "Oh, it's cute."
Yeah.
Like a little rookie, you're going to have to learn. I'm like, yeah, but that person will answer the phone any time I call.
Yeah.
And I second-guessed myself, and I almost called them back and say, where's my commission check?
But that's the beauty of it, because if it's just two people, that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But if you have a room of 30 people, you don't have to rely on that person giving something back. You're relying on someone in the room. And that person might give you credibility.
Yeah.
That person will speak positively about you now. That person's going to talk about your generosity. So someone else in the room is going to go, "Hey, I want to help Kai."
So coming back to the plan, so one of the goals of today is how do you do it? And so I think the interesting piece is it has to start with some commonality, right? That strength of diversity, that's the beauty. But like in anything you're building, it starts with that foundation. And so collaborative opportunities, I think that would be the word I'd use. if I'm selling a house, I need a mortgage, I need the real estate agent, I need the notary, I need the landscaper. So all those people can feed each other. And so I think what we want to do, if you are a driver and you have that interest, is start looking at who can I feed business to and who can feed me business, right? Because every deal that happens, there's someone in the front and someone in the back, right? It's just that ongoing. So by bringing them together, creating the confidence and trust, which is essential, we now have that collaborative environment that can feed one another.
Yeah, and I think from day one, what you want to do is you want to create the right culture. It's super important that as people come in, and we have these groups all over the world now. And again, these are
nice segue into a big piece of our culture,
our values.
Our values.
Yeah. No, I love our values because they drive. I like to say in a company, the importance of values is that it allows people to make the right decisions when no one's there.
I don't know why I got the fight song in my head and I almost started to hum it and sing it, but then realized, I don't have the voice for that.
Or maybe the rights. Yeah, no, I think it's about the values. And we have five core values that I think drive the culture. And because at the end of the day,
you need a rally. Well, you need something that you're rallying around.
And you need to be aligned.
Yeah.
So we have 5 values: meaningful relationships, and the key there is not relationship, because we all have relationships. It's the meaningful piece. We have the extraordinary experiences, and some people go, "Oh, does that mean I'm going to be in a helicopter over the Grand Canyon or go to the Arctic?" Maybe, but it's also about when I have a one-to-one conversation, I get to a level of depth and meaning and openness that it creates an extraordinary experience in that moment. So it's big and small. It might even
be an opportunity generated, personal or professional, from one of your members in the group.
Well, and I love. Look, I've had some that changed my career. The deals that made the difference in building my old technology company that led to its sale. That came through my corporate connections group, or our corporate connections group.
Yeah.
But I love. We talk about extraordinary. A few years back, I was with a buddy of mine, and I was trying to get him to join just because I knew he'd get big value. And he said, "Why?" And he said, "Why are you doing this? What's your why?" And I think that's so important when you sit down with people, that you understand their why. And if it aligns with some of these values, it aligns with what we're building, they're perfect. And in my case, the why was, I just sold a business, I had young kids, and I said, well, for me, I don't know what's going to happen in the next 5 years, 10 years, 20 years professionally. But I know I want to surround myself with extraordinary people.
Because I need another opportunity.
Well, yeah, I want to discover some extraordinary.
Because I've sold my business and all my employees and my whole gang.
Everyone's off. Yeah, no, that part of my life, that community's gone.
100%.
Right? You've just gone through this.
Yeah, 100%.
You just sold a business, so you know exactly what it feels. There's an emptiness.
Yeah.
And it's like, what am I going to fill it with? And I do know one thing I want to do. I want to surround myself with extraordinary people who have that same vision. Those
different experiences.
Well, and around the world.
Yeah.
I'd never been to Japan. And a few years ago, I got to go to Japan because of corporate connections, met some remarkable people there. And what amazed me is they have the same wants, the same needs, the same desires that we have. You go to India, it's the same thing. Cambodia, the same thing. France, the same thing. It doesn't matter where you go. At the end of the day, we're human. And that interconnection, that desire to build, that desire to make a difference, do something in our communities, our lives, our families, and for ourselves, it's there everywhere. So when you can do that in a structured way, it's amazing.
And it's funny, you say it, that is a byproduct. That's a byproduct of corporate connections, a global community, like-minded people that have been vetted at a certain stage. The coming back, that could be localized.
Yep.
Knowing what the good restaurants are, knowing what, that could be nationalized. So when we come back to the topic today, which is building your own environment, not leaving it a chance, but getting on top of it, creating that culture of excellence, another core value. People don't want to waste their time, man.
No.
None of us have, we don't want to waste. Catalyst for change. We do the same things over and over and over, producing the same results. Imagine, and I love this sort of thought, it's, how you doing? What's the standard answer?
Yeah, I'm good, and you?
Yeah, but the reality is it might be crap, and I'm getting my butt kicked, and I just lost a mandate, and the bank didn't give me my financing. There's 5% extra on the interest rate. Imagine we had an environment we could create where we could have that factual conversation.
Yeah.
And that comes within this private sanctum of creating your walled garden, your network. It's got to be seamless and simple, another core value that we have.
That's such a key one. People often forget that one because, like I've been in a number of different types of networking organizations, and a lot of them didn't have the structure, didn't have the tools.
Accountability, man.
And then they fall apart.
Yeah.
It's being driven by an individual or a couple individuals, and then that person leaves because something changed in their lives. They move, they change businesses. It no longer applies for them. Now all of a sudden, there's this emptiness and there's no structure. So that's seamless and simple. It's got to be, I show up, things are taken care of.
Yeah.
I just have to be there, be myself, build relationships, connect.
But apply the same effort and level of engagement as everyone else is expected to.
Yeah.
In a seamless and simple fashion.
Yeah. Hold each other accountable.
Yeah. And that finding that driver. So if it's you, it's someone around you. We all know that go-to person. You didn't learn how to network in school, man. You picked it up on the street, good, bad, or indifferent. And finding a way to improve your skill sets. We all have friends that are really proficient. Maybe you or maybe someone else. These are the people we want to go and have these candid conversations that you were talking about just a minute ago, which is, hey, listen, I want to create this. I want to build an environment that supports one another, that we're all going to benefit from. And having that seamless and simple conversation, having a culture of excellence, having, experiences that are going to be fun, and having meaningful relationships. And we know each other, but I don't know exactly what you want or what you're looking for. And if I did, then the probability of me getting it for you is much higher.
Yeah. Or
me knowing someone within my network is much higher. So that starting point, finding the driver, being the driver, which is that call to action. 2, 3, 4, 5. We call it 5 or 6. Get 5 or 6 like-minded people together that have an interest in doing something, that have a willingness to put a little bit of time into, a little bit of effort into creating this. Then you're off to the races.
Yeah, and then have them bring one person each. One person. It's nothing. The reality is people...
And be tactical.
Well, yeah, and if these people wanted to, they could bring 20. Now, they may not have the trust at the beginning to bring 20. That's going to come over time. But one person they know will get value from being in the room with these other 5, 6 people. And the worst thing that can happen is they come, they meet people, they don't join, but they've just extended their network by those 5, 6, 10 people.
Yeah.
And they're now part, whether or not they join, they're now part of your community.
Yeah, networking has a bad word, right? It's not NetSig, it's network. The connotation around it is work.
Yeah.
But what I like to sort of focus on is engagement and the collaboration. So setting the rules of engagement, right? Again, no one wants to waste their time. That's one of the things I find really interesting in our meetings. They thank us because they didn't waste their time.
Yes.
They had a meal, they met some great people. And having an understanding of what that value add is, right? What that culture of excellence you're trying to create is, that's it. You need to map out what it is. Start on time, finish on time.
Yes.
Here's the value, here's the reason, and be a student of the game. And I think that's the benefit that we give, having built this program together. Obviously, lots of man hours and lots of smart people went into really perfecting it. But we did start this together, and one of the things that we did was we set the agenda, we set the expectations, the level of engagement, the time commitment, and some coaching on how to be a connector.
Yes.
Because that's an important piece. We want to create value.
And I think one of the things you just said, which also applies, is certainly every time I've built a chapter, and I've seen this be one of the ingredients to success, you set the timeline from day one. Kai, if you're going to help me build this chapter, we're going to build it in the next 2 months. We're going to launch on this date. And because a lot of these people are driven by deadlines, they're type A personalities, they're successful, they understand the value of having a clear objective. And if you do that, because if not, it might just go on and on and on. So if you say, hey, we're going to do this in a finite time, I'm going to lead you through this process. It's going to be easy. As easy as it possibly can be, because you don't have to worry about things. I'm going to take care of it. So if you're building out one of these groups, you give them that structure, you get in front of them, you explain the why, you get them on board, and now you just drive the process.
And you don't have to be picky.
In what sense?
In any sense, just we want bodies in. We want a
Of
network.
course not. Of course not.
You got to be uber picky, and that's the key.
You almost lost me there, Kai. I was like, "What's happened to him?"
Yeah, but that to me is one of the most important pieces. Is I will introduce you to a plethora of different people with confidence, and I again, you're going to hear this consistently in all my podcasts. I call it the thank you, man. I want the thank you. When I open up an opportunity for you to do business or collaborate or other, you're going to say, thanks, Kai. Yes. And then the individual the entity I'm setting you up with is going to thank me as well because I'm going to manage it. So there are skills and understanding on how to function within a networking environment, a structured environment. But again, my reputation's tied to you. If you do a poor job, you don't show up, something happens, I can't go back to the well. And so I think that, to me, as you were saying, is when you're setting all this stuff up, be cognizant and conscious of having the right people in the room.
Yeah, look, it's some people think exclusive's a bad word. I think it's a great word. It's not negative. It's about having the right people in the room, and you need to. You need to be selective. You need to have people who are aligned with.
How the hell did we get in?
Yeah, well, we built the company. They couldn't say no.
Exactly.
But I think, so a lot of that, you got to find those people who are curious, who take an interest in other people who are building things, people who have that kind of vision. It's not just about their success. I had one guy, great guy. I won't mention his name because we didn't bring him into the chapter. Great guy, CEO of a large company. Really good friend. He'd be a terrible member. He's a taker. But he's not a bad person. And he gives through charity. He sits on boards. Yep. But in business, he's not the person who's going to say, hey, yeah, I know that person, so I'll connect you. It's just not his nature. And that's fine. It doesn't mean he's not part of the network. He's not part of the friendship circle. But this is not the right vehicle for him. Now, most people...
But he's great to have in our network as a resource for our members.
Yeah, and he's open to that.
Because he has a great business, and it's very transactional, but we may need that transactional.
And he's open to it.
Yeah, it's that understanding. And I go back to what I said. To fill the room with a melting pot of different personalities, culture, business, that's so valuable, man, because you don't know who I know. We always say, you never know who my network is. Who do I play golf with? Who do I sail with? Who do I motorboat with? Who do I ski with? Who do I hang out with? Who are my family members? My wife. I mean, the list goes on, and it's just a matter of finding that right environment so that I stop and actually listen.
But why is this different? Because you could join a chamber of commerce. There are other organizations out there. What makes Corporate Connections different from the other ones?
Depth of relationship. If I had a real mic, I would have dropped it. Depth of relationship, man. It's that engagement, understanding of who and what we are. It's not two ships passing in the night and, is there an opportunity? That's hunting. We farm. And taking the time to understand who you are, what you are. There's 35,000 financial planners in Canada, probably even more. There's, real estate, There's a massive amount of people in business. You talk about exclusivity, being exclusive. Well, imagine I know, how many kids you had, where your background is, where your strength is. If you're selling a house, can you sell $1 million house or do you sell $200,000 houses? I need to have this background and understanding to put you in the best position of having success. If you can coddle and hold first-time buyers, well, there's the market. And there's a reason why I would refer you to someone that's buying their first home, because you're going to take the time. If you're transactional and hustling and selling the big home, you may not have a good fit here. So you ask me what that real benefit, it's depth of relationship.
Yeah. I also
what do you think? Because you looked at me and I thought I had
I think I was
going to get a big X.
No, look, I think you nailed it. But I do think it depends how you approach this, right? I agree 100% with what you said. I also think, and I've been a member of other organizations, there are a lot of great organizations.
100%.
Most of them are either focused on the transactional or on the transformational. So it's kind of like, hey, I'm going to be with my peers, but we're not going to talk business because we don't want that to pollute this conversation. Yeah. Or we're focusing on business. That other stuff, that's not here. And I think what we've done really well is we've married the two.
100%.
And that's life. That's reality. My life is not getting a transaction. My life is also not just having deep conversations. Yeah. It's I need both. I need everything. And I need it for my community. I need it again for my family. You talked about family. I need it for all aspects of my life. And if I could find that in one place, that's efficient, that's motivating, that's exciting, that's fantastic.
I love it, Robert, because I'd say it's sort of twofold. First and foremost, to have meaningful relationships, back to one of our core values, you have to have consistency and parity of your network.
Yes.
The reason we built that group was you had an environment that wasn't able to introduce you at the level you need introduction. So you have to be able to service and support the opportunities that come to you, and you have to be able to reciprocate in kind. You know, that is a real important piece of our puzzle. And you have to also realize everyone's joining for different reasons. Some may just want peer-to-peer.
Yep.
Some may be more focused on the transactional. But setting the stage early, having an understanding of what the engagement is, why we're here, and having that sense of curiosity. I'm going to get to know you. I want to understand your business and what you want, so I'm better suited to support you if I can.
And what's beautiful about
that is amazing when you can create that.
Well, it is, because people aren't used to also having that kind of atmosphere. And that comes with trust. It builds trust and comes with trust. Now, all of a sudden, you take that, I'm here in Montreal, I want to meet someone in Toronto, and I know someone is in the same sort of culture and environment, and they're part of that exclusive group. It is so easy for me to go meet them.
100%.
We're launching a group in Belgium later this month. I'm excited about that. I've never done business in Belgium, and I don't know if I ever will.
Yeah, unfortunately, it's Flemish, so we're going to...
Well, yeah, but we have a member from our chapter, because Kai and I are in the same chapter, who's going there today.
Yeah, but you can't cut me off that quick, because it sounded like I was just saying, unfortunately, they're Flemish, not French. Here in Quebec and Montreal, we are bilingual community, French and English. But yeah, there's...
But we have a member from our chapter who's flying there tonight, and he's meeting with them tomorrow.
Yeah, I love it.
And he said it's funny. He's from that area, but he said, I haven't spoken this much Flemish in years. So it was quite funny. He's pretty excited about seeing it. He said, and they're thinking, oh, we're doing this guy a favor meeting with him. He's thinking, I'm doing them a favor. And you and I both know when they meet, they're both going to walk out of there saying, man, I love corporate connections.
Talk to anybody about the easiest opportunity you've ever had, personal, professional, or other. It's a referral.
Yeah.
Word of mouth, man. It's been going since the beginning of time. And that opportunity, I've tried, true, tested people around you so that when you get a referral, 80% of the opportunities set up. You know, I've said it on a bunch of occasions. I'm not a tourist on this planet. I don't want to be. You know, I have a network that can afford me knowledge and insight into all the things that I'm doing. And if they can't, well, they know someone who can. And it's that exponential ripple, right, that gets created. Bring it back so it doesn't happen overnight. It's going to take some real thoughtful engagement and some time. You know, like when we build our corporate connections chapters and we build them all across the country, all across the world, we have a process. You know, like you said, Robert, it's getting a few people around the table that have an interest and want to support one another, right?
Yeah.
From there, use our tried, true, tested system, because now you don't want to waste your time.
That's key.
And accountability. What do you think about accountability? Because you said you've been to a plethora of different networking environments all over the planet. What distinguishes one from another?
Well, it's...
I'm leading you down to say accountability.
Well, yeah, no,
just in case we were off.
Yeah, no, but I mean, everything is in the follow-up, and follow-up is accountability. I could meet the best person in the world. If I don't follow up with them afterwards, that just disappears into the ether. Who knows what happens? So if you don't have that structure, if you don't have those expectations, and that's what we do, of course, is we create that. We make it easy for you to
show up.
Yeah, and we encourage you to expect it of fellow members, and we encourage those fellow members to expect it of you.
Yeah.
And once everyone's accepted, now you're playing the same game. You're on the same field, playing by the same rules. And it's really hard to play a game if you're playing with different rules. Now, if everyone's on the same field, playing with the same rules, things get done. And that's where you see it. You know, we see it all the time in our roles, but you see the magic happen. You see people connect and things that they did not expect. Like I just mentioned Belgium. I may not do business there, but you know what? I might meet a member from Belgium who is going to change how I think about my business. because they're going to bring a lifetime's experience in their industry with their expertise, with the people they know. They're going to share with me in this cultural collaboration, and it's going to create a paradigm shift in how I'm approaching things.
Come back to extraordinary experiences. You're also going to have a hell of a good time in Belgium. Go to some great restaurants, see some shows, know where to go as a tourist. Why? Because we have boots on the ground. And so to wrap up, it's tough to squeeze all this insight into 20 minutes, so we didn't do it. We pushed it to 30 minutes today, but I really do appreciate having you here today, Robert. You are a resource. You're a resource for the Corporate Connections global community. You have a really, really strong understanding of the how, the why. And, once we create it, we want to maintain it, and that's where we rely on you. From the creation point, the building point, like I said, there's elements that you want to really stay focused on to build that proper environment, to create the meaningful relationships, extraordinary experiences, have a culture of excellence for your members, be a catalyst for change, and make it seamless and simple, man. If you can keep it simple, people will participate. If we're not wasting our time, people will participate. Show value and have fun. But, the fun and fundamentals, it's true, man. If people enjoy it and have a good time, they come back.
Yeah.
If it's arduous and straining, they
won't.
don't. And the beauty of Corporate Connections is that we have the tools in place. We have the systems that are tried, true, and tested. And we have the community all over the planet. So thank you for coming today. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching. I'm Kai Bjorn, Corporate Connections National Director and Owner on the Bjorn Identity. Be well.
Thanks
Cheers.
a lot, Kai. Thanks for having me.